Today I want to show you an amazing tool that can save you hundreds if not thousands of dollars. And along with it, there are some other tools that you definitely should have. Let's take a look at this phone screen separator 3-in-1. Alright, let's take it out of the box and let's find out what this is all about.
一样，不花1分钟，插入尾插口是拆解很快啊。到中大管上贴合，剪。
Looks like we've got an adjustable lever here. Looks like that fits into the charge port slots. And this looks like an extendable, we've got a mat for suction. This rubber flat seal around here. All right, we'll get into all of this and what this means. All right, we'll plug it in, flip it on. And it looks like we've got a curved stop here and there as well. Looks like we can change the angle here. Let's take a look inside the bag here and see what we have. This looks like it goes in right here. Screws in nice and tight. And that'll allow you to change the angle and clamp it in place. This here in front allows for the rotation here and the stoppage of that rotating. This goes on right there. And then these can go in like so, and then you can adjust this, or even we can swap these guys for that. And then it looks like we've got some screws, and we can actually physically screw through the base to make this so it doesn't slide around on whatever surface we're using it on. Maybe that gives you something to hold on to. I don't know. Anyone have any thoughts on what this is for? Leave it in the comments below. Here I've got a Samsung Note 10 Plus display. It's still good, but as you can see, it is fairly broken at the top. As you can see, the touch works perfectly everywhere. Things are still good on this display. And now, in order to remove the screen successfully without potentially having an issue up here at the top, what I want to do is solidify the glass to another piece of glass, more even just a screen protector really, to kind of help with that. But in order to get a good bond so the screen protector doesn't come up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scuff up the surface of this glass. They wanna figure every doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. We'll clean it up, get all of the dust off there from the sanding. You can see I've really kind of scuffed up the edges, especially around where the shards are. Now I'm gonna get UV glue. Now we'll put a fair amount of this on while we get our screen protector here. Slowly set it down. It's okay if we get bubbles in this one. We'll let it naturally settle in place. And if you haven't gotten yourself this Ferrari of a UV light, I would recommend it. We'll simply plug it in. We'll set in our screen. And then here we can turn it on and turn on the timer. You can see it's got a row of 14 UV lights. A beautiful design. Once the timer's up, we can then take it out. And that is now solid on there. And turn on our heat plate here. And I'm gonna set the temperature to, let's go about 90 degrees Celsius there. Now, as we continue to let this warm up, we can get set up here. So what I'm gonna do is we'll take here the insert that goes inside the charging port area, and I'm gonna back off until I can fit down and clamp this in so that it's nice and tight in there. So while we wait for this to finish heating up, what I'm going to be using is some isopropyl alcohol to kind of help get in between the frame and the display. We're going to be twisting this knob to adjust the height, which will lift the frame, and the suction will keep the display down. And if I need to, I'm going to come in with this very thin piece of plastic. This comes off of the OCA. This is one of the protectors. It's the thicker of the 3 protectors that it comes with. This really is a lifesaver for multiple parts of this repair. You can see that the back of the display is separated from the mid frame. You can see it's starting to separate nicely now. We'll come over on the other side and help it out with this, doing the same thing. Now we can just continue to twist it and lift it up, adding just a little bit more isopropyl alcohol here and there to help really convince it to let go. Let's now connect it up to our tester here. Turn on the display. Looks like the tempered glass wanted to separate a little bit from the main crack, one of the main long cracks up there. As you can see, the display is still fine. Touch is still good. For this next part, we can take off that plate, put it up here, turn on the suction. And what I need to do is pull off all of the adhesive, clean up all of the edges, and then we can start slicing the glass off.
Filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright.
We'll use our highly flexible tungsten alloy wire.
Rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds. People can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises.
We can see that the tempered glass hold all the glass together. And here we've got the display off. Now the first thing I like to do when I get it off is obviously test it. So let's connect it back up and turn it on. The display looks good so far. The touch is just going to be a little off and on just because there's still grainy stuff on there, but I can see that the touch is working just fine. Yeah, there's no issues with the touch whatsoever. All right, we'll go ahead and power it off. Disconnect the battery, the display. So I want to make sure all of the little shards of glass are off before we start cleaning, because I don't want to scratch the display at all. So I'm just going to make sure that that's all clear. And the whole point of doing this video is to show you that you can basically do this on your own. Instead of investing hundreds and hundreds of dollars into a display separator, if you don't have that, this is a more manual operation, but it still can provide success. So in order to speed up the process, I'm going to be using this OCA cleaner by Jet Clean. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but I kept this rigid. Instead of screwing it to the table, I just took some tape and taped it down.
They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out.
Well, this tool right here can help get the get the adhesive off pretty easily. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm obviously just showing you a way to do it with one hand, but what's better is to use two hands like this. That way you can get up the adhesive a little easier. What looks like scratches are probably just thick like layers of the OCA, even like right here. You see I'm just going over it gently and they're all starting to disappear. I'm gonna keep going at it until it's nice and perfectly clean. It's starting to look really good. Almost there. As you can see, we still have kind of what an outline of where the cracks were, but see I'm down to where basically the majority of the screen is completely free of all debris and those kind of scratch looking marks. Almost there. All right, I'm almost there. There we go. A few little smudges and smears and maybe a couple things I need to still scrub off, but you can see we're basically there. Just a little bit more refinement to put on the glass. And of course, we're gonna test it again, make sure everything's still looking good after putting all of that pressure. These displays are fairly flexible, and so you will be flexing them around. So as long as you don't damage anything, it should be good. So it's like everything's still working perfectly.
Everything is like a test. I better not text or I'll come off desperate. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored again? So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing.
Now at this point you might be thinking, I don't have a laminator and autoclave, then I just looked them up and they are expensive. Well, it's not the end of the world because there are other ways to adhere glass. For example, here I'm demonstrating an iPhone 14 Pro using the tried and true LOCA method, which stands for Liquid Optical Clear Adhesive, which is cured with a UV light. The same UV light that we use to solidify the tempered glass can be used to solidify the LOCA to hold the glass to the display. Now, there seems to be something taboo about LOCA in the industry, and that's because if you don't use it properly, it can be messy. If you use too little, then you have to redo your work. If you use too much, then you get squeezed out, and LOCA is not something that you want to have to clean up because it kind of gets everywhere.
And it gets everywhere.
But that being said, if done properly, you can end up with a beautiful result. Now back to the video. I'm gonna hit start. Let it run through its process. Once it's finished with the lamination, you can open it up and take a look. As you can see, we've got plenty of bubbles, so I'm gonna put it in an autoclave. We'll close it up. Hit start. We'll let that run. Now that it's finished, we'll take a look and see if it's gotten rid of all the bubbles. And it looks like I still got some in the corners, so I'm going to stick it back in for another round. And now that that's done, let's take another look. And that's much better. Now let's go ahead and just test it one last time before installing it back on the frame, make sure it still works. Go ahead and connect it up, connect the battery, and let's power it on. And we can see the display is coming on just fine. Clean off some of my fingerprints. And there we see touch is good. See the camera is lined up perfectly with the display there. No bleeding in the display. Everything's nice and centered, so touch is good everywhere. Go ahead and power it off. All right, let's start removing kind of the old adhesive that didn't come off with the screen. And go around and clean up the edge where the new adhesive is gonna go. Get rid of all of the gunk that's potentially collected over the years. All right, we will peel off this protector here. Carefully line up the new display adhesive with the camera hole right there where the sensors and the speakers are. Go down the side, make sure that's lined up nice and perfectly on both sides. Now we can pull away the protector. I'm going to carefully scrape away the old adhesive here at the bottom, getting all of it out. Take our cold press glue, and I'm going to put a nice fine and even bead all the way across the bottom. And there we go. Carefully insert the flex cables and lining up the top and bottom. Now I can compress it down and clean up any of the squeeze out. Let's give it a good wipe down, and at the same time I'm putting pressure on the display, getting it to adhere better. And there we go. From a broken screen to a brand new looking one. Now all of these tools, the Loca for the tempered glass, the UV light, the OCA cleaner, the cutting wire that we used in this video, the cold press adhesive and glue gun, the wire whip, the acetone dispenser, the alcohol dropper, new glass for basically any model, and the main screen disassembler that we used in this video. These can all be found at mobilecentrics.com. Now you might be asking yourself, why would I want to do this instead of replacing the whole display, or the whole display with frame for that matter? And that's because for those that put in the effort to learn the skill, they're going to be saving hundreds of dollars on each repair, or in other words, gaining hundreds of dollars in each repair. For example, this display is well over $200, but the glass is a fraction of that. It'll give you an edge in the industry around your area so that you can compete and beat everybody's prices. It's my recommendation to get into refurbishing at least some of the screens, as I have a feeling that, like always, Samsung's gonna follow Apple and start to serialize their screens. Only time will tell. I really hope that you've learned something and that you've enjoyed the video. Take a minute to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below stating what you would like to see in a future video. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you in the next video.